Peace, and welcome to another broadcast of Circle Ministries. And I'm your host, Rico Blakeney. This is going to be a short live, so I know it was short notice and a quick pop up and notification, probably like 15 minutes at the most. But I'm going to give a few people an opportunity to get on here just in a second. But like I said before, I don't think it'll be long. We're going to be talking about you being the biggest discovery of a lifetime, or you discovering yourself is the biggest discovery of a lifetime. So, like to say peace to all of my long-time subscribers and supporters. I want to thank you for supporting me and still hanging on, even though I've been absent and been hit and miss. But thank you for your years of support. Thank you for liking where you're at in life, where you come from. Uh, Give me 1 second. I'm gonna try to connect again. All right. I'm back. Hope that took care of that. And that come from me not checking everything before I jumped on down here real quick. Had to check my internet service. Plug it into the router. So there wasn't the devil or somebody else trying to stop me from giving a great message. Anyway, um, and once you can understand that you're the actual thing or the person that's contributing to everything you see outwardly, then you can learn about how you're going to contribute to it and what you're going to contribute and how and what results do you want from your contribution. So as we continue to grow in our self-mastery and do things, we continuously are evaluating seeing things, and we're always revealing and understanding ourselves on a deeper level. So but for those that may not know or may not understand, or maybe haven't heard it this way before, that you are your biggest discovery of a lifetime. Once you can discover who you are, your unique self, and the individual or the entity, however you want to describe yourself, the God or whatever else, you are that generating power source that's creating. So when you discover who you are, what you like, um, what you may not like, or I'm trying to stay neutral here, or what you may not favor as much as things that you do like the most, um, your 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 pet peeves, your personality, um, your way of thinking, your way of believing, your way of acting or interacting with a person, your moral compass. All these things are you. This is basically components of yourself. And I think, if you give me a second, I think I said something earlier about the who. I mean, yeah, the what, the where, and who type of person you were too. So it's also all those things come into play. Like, where were you born? Um, I believe it has a lot to do with your initial start in life. I don't care who you are, where you from, or what part of the world, what part of the world that you're in now, or that you were born in. Somewhere with that geographical location, somewhere there's a culture, or there's a systematic system, and a way of thinking, living, believing, and operating there. Not saying there's not a bunch of universals around. I'm just saying most of the time by those geographical locations where you're gonna get whatever you get. And you can get the same thing from different places. I can go to New York and deal with a Baptist, a Baptist up there in New York, and they may be Baptist, and then you deal with a Baptist down here in the South, and you have a Southern Baptist. You're still Baptist, but there's still a difference, even though you're still Baptist. So your similarities are still different, but all of that has to play with it. And who your parents are. Most times, it's who your parents are and what their beliefs are, their religion, their food that they like, their perspectives, and their ideal life that they have prepared for you once they know you come into the world, or either uh, after they know you come into the world and afterwards going forward. These are the things that they try to build for you. And even with some of those that have jacked up relationships where the parents aren't always there, or however it may be, that affects, and that's a part of what I'm talking about, the who, the where, and the what type of person. All that plays into play. All that comes into play. But anyway, all that comes with discovering yourself. So when you discover yourself, you're going to have to go through and see and question, why do you like this? Why do you believe this? Why do you think this way? If you can remember back to when you was inquisitive and young, outside of seeing some of the things that we learn from watching, observation, and hearing, or the youngest influential learning stages in the individual's life, in human life, uh, even in animals as well. That stage of life is where you're going to get taught the most without too much of the verbal sitting down and focused teaching or subject matter teaching. They're observing the world outside of the womb, and they're teaching and learning, and you're teaching them, and they're learning outside of that, and in that realm. So now they're learning the world from that standpoint. So those are the things that begin to make up the hardwire, I will believe, outside of the DNA, the spirituality, and all the other things that's passed on through the genetics. So those other areas you have to find out and search and examine as well too. Um, but when you get down to those core things, and you go through those things, you can go back through and see what things have you questioned, what things have you looked at, what things do you believe or have believed or was taught to believe, and what things do you still hold as a belief or a truth after that evaluation. So after you go through those evaluations and you go through scripting yourself of all those things, this is where you discover yourself. After you go through all those things, and from my experience, for me, I can't say it for everyone else, it's a life ongoing experience. Because some things you find out later that you thought you went through and evaluated, you gave it a pass just because it was so normality to you, that when you did your evaluation, you got a confirmation bias. I had a confirmation bias to it. And so it became a truth because of that confirmation bias. And blindly, it continued to stay a truth. But through its life and life experiences, I see that same thing, that truth always get challenged. If you know anything about a truth or the truth is always challenged, lied about, covered up, swindled, and done wrong in this side of the world. So um, a lot of easy truths are absolute truths. No, the real truths you get to are the hard truths. You go through that by saying, well, my mom and dad was always Catholic, or my mom and dad was always Muslim, or my mom and dad was neither one. My mom and dad was atheists, or my mom and dad claimed to be Christians, but they never went to church, or my mom and dad claimed to be Christians and was in the church. However it may be, you have to question that. Okay, did grandmama and grandpapa, did my mom's mom and dad believe that way, think that way? Did my dad's mom and dad think and believe that way? Did their mom and dad, and go down and ask and be inquisitive and find out as much as you can. But I know a lot of times, if you're not tight knit family, those people have died and gone home, and all you have is bits and pieces of other people's memories, if you're able to have those things. And for those that do have it, and when they're able to communicate and get those things, you know, talk, and hopefully the family is open enough to talk to you, or you're able to be able to ask questions, whereas you can get the answer you want without offending anyone, or no one shutting the doors on you. But find those things out, um, and question those things, and see if you believe those things or trust those things just because they're coming from what you would call a reliable source. Are all those things true because they're true? Or are you believing it, taking it for a truth, and you're building your life off of that, trying to figure out how excuse me, trying to fix my shirt here, and you build a life out of those things, and then when you evaluate it, is that you, or is that the you that was given to you, or the you that you've chosen to adapt as you? Um, do you believe and feel that way? Another good determining factor is, for me, is my inward person. If I'm doing anything and everything that I do, my inward person is agreeing with it, I'm good. If I feel grievous, if I feel like I might be getting over on someone, and I don't mean like deliberately shitting them or nothing like that, but I could be not being more informative or being upfront and straightforward with whatever it is I'm wanting, talking about, or describing, and what I'm expecting, desiring, or wanting in return. So I'm very vocal, I'm very pinpointed to whatever it may be that I'm dealing with. So I use that same rule of thumb. But anyway, it's that me. And so this is where the discovery of yourself comes in. Is seeing that whenever you can go through all these other things, it may have been something that, like I said before, you start from childhood, no matter what your age is, teenager to adulthood or whatever. When you start to look at those things and see them, you got years and years and years, or piles and piles and piles of things to dig through, you know. And it's depending on how the spirit works with you, you might not have to go through every last one of those seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, centuries, or whatever. You might have to go through all of those. There can be enough collective thought, whereas you can see that same scenario in all different areas, and you can see it, and it'll make a sound decision. So for me, the spirit tries the spirit by the spirit, and the spirit is truth. And so when the spirit tries the spirit by truth, it can find that truth in all the other areas, even when it's wrong. So the absence of the wrong is the truth, or the absence of wrong is the right. That's just my thoughts and my description of it. It's not nothing I can say you can go Google and find out. But in that same scenario, um, that truth that may show up, it'll show up sometime by letting you know that that was a wrong, and so you discover that. And for me, it's a great feeling. It's liberating. It's energetic, and it allows me to grow more and more um, in that, and being satisfied with myself, being complete with myself, no matter what anyone else thoughts and opinion is, or how they feel about it. That I have discovered myself, and I give myself into everything that I deal with, everyone I come in contact with. And so I believe once you find that, you'll find a lot. A lot of times people are running, they run to religions, they run to certain hobbies, or what I mean by running to certain hobbies, or run themselves to certain hobbies, you may indulge yourself into a certain thing that you like to do, or you indulge yourself in work, or you indulge might not be the proper word, but you submerge. You submerge yourself in your work, or you submerge yourself in your studies. You submerge yourself in your schooling. You submerge yourself in your education. You submerge yourself in your doctrine. You submerge yourself in your family and your kids. You submerge yourself in your religion. You submerge, no matter whatever status that may be, or your spirituality, um, your enlightening, your whatever it may be. You submerge yourself in those things, and in those things, you're looking for that to help self-identify thyself. So sometimes and down here, like I talk about down here, a lot of Christianity. A lot of times, people want to find their place in God, or find their place in God, then they can find their place in humanity. They can find their place in the world. Then they can find meaning and purpose to life and the reason why they're here. And there's a lot of things I believe a lot of people deal with or search for without actually being as vocal or pinpoint as I just said in a roundabout way. And so sometimes whenever you feel like you're down in life, or you may not have the money that everyone else have, or the lifestyle that you desire to have, you may not have the mother or father that you desire to have, or the brother and sister, because of they may be fucked up, and you would desire to have the better one, or the latter. You'd like to have the good versus the bad, and there's nothing wrong with it. So that's not what I'm saying. Is that you see those things, and you desire those things, and you want those things, but you. So I said you a whole lot, but I've found myself, and people have found themselves trying to find their place in there. So am I a good son? Am I worth being redeemed by the blood of the Lamb, or whatever else it may be? You want to be able to self-identify in there, then find your worth in there, then you feel somewhat whole. You feel like you're complete. You feel like that this was a missing part of your life, and you can allow that to blindly keep you away from a lot of other things in life. Sometimes a poor mind spiritual person will never have the financial things. I'm not saying the financial things are the greatest things in the world, but they are great amenities. And it comes with, I believe, it should be free range for everyone. We should all be able to eat and live and have whatever we need on the same equal playing field. But nevertheless, we seek for discovery, or we seek for our identity and other things. But I believe that once you find your identity within yourself, and then if those places or those things are something that you're gonna submerge yourself into, then can you do it a better service if there's a service to be done to it, or can it do you a proper service if there's a proper service for it to yield or give you? You know, we're talking about the last video I did about the transformation versus confirmation. I think that was not the boundaries, but transformation versus confirmation, or conforming. Transformation versus conforming. Transforming versus conforming. That's what it was. And a lot of times we conform to build up a whole thing of conformity and never really uh, found ourselves. We've only transformed into all of these other things that we've engulfed ourselves or submerged ourselves within, and still is just as empty as we were when we entered into those things in search of it. Most people that feel like they're missing something in life, like I said, we run to religion. They find you're a sinner. You can be saved by grace if you are dealing with the Bible, or that love is over here, and there's certain things that you have to do for Allah in order to attain those things, or you live a harmonious life, and you can attain the reincarnation as something more grateful and respectful, as most of the Buddhists or some of the other ones, or however it may be, or your spirituality, whatever it may be. You can return back to the land of reeds, or you can always go to the above and never go to the underworld. You can return back to the sweet place. Um, so and you just be just as lost or just as incomplete, but you've been swindled and wasted. I ain't gonna say wasted, but spent a lot of time and energy in our life that you can't get back. And we leave here a lot of times. A lot of people have left here empty, incomplete, and never discovered themselves. That's why I believe the cemetery is full, or the richest place in the world is a cemetery, because it's full of a bunch of undiscovered treasure, a bunch of undiscovered great people, entities, energy force, whatever the hell you want to call it. Some of the most valuable things were never discovered, because the body can't live without the spirit, and the spirit exists, but it doesn't exist without a body. It's like a tree falling in the woods with no one around to hear it. If it fell, did it make a sound? Does logic tell you it make a sound, or does logic tell you I don't know. So find yourself, discover yourself, go on a journey, go on a voyage, go on a hell out binge on finding yourself, discovering yourself. It's not a plea like they would say in the Bible, but from my head, it's like, find out before it's everlasting too late. Find out yourself, love yourself, experience yourself, and enjoy that while you can, and let others experience that, and let them enjoy that, and let them walk in that glory and that black, the glory of you being you. Let them benefit from you and your joy and the love and the peace, or whatever it is that you can now fully operate from. Whether it's a advice giver, if it's a teacher, if it's a helping hand, if it's a listening ear, if it's a healer, if you are a plumber, electrician, if whatever it may be, whatever your gift and talents may be, or whatever you have to offer while you're in this flesh and blood, you can do it and be spectacular at it and be satisfied with it. No longer searching for an empty hole. You find yourself, you find heaven, you find the greatest thing that can be found. And the only place to dig for that and to find it is within yourself. So you can go searching your religion all the way across the world. You can search your roots all the way back to here. You can search your indigenous heritage all the way back to here. And it all still boils down to you and your ass. Where you discover yourself. So is your discovery and your search throughout life for all the things that life can attain and life can give, and life accolades give you, with being indigenous, with being whoever and whatever you are, being a clergy member, being a paramedic, being an electrician, will all those things suffice? I don't believe so. For me, not for me. Discovering myself is the biggest discovery I've ever found, and I'm still digging and finding more and more about myself that I'm loving, and still discovering myself, because I love all parts of me, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of them. So I hope that was something helpful for you. Um, and I hope you understand that you are that too. No matter how this video came through today, how the language was jumbo, however, everyone that's been on my videos, you understand it. And for those that don't, it is just as jumbled as your mind is now, and it will make clarity. Just trust me. Just keep hanging on the ride. By the end of it, you have more clarity. I love you and thank you for letting me get on here. Let me borrow your attention. Still trying to keep YouTube going and I'm continuing to keep YouTube going, keep the algorithm, keep me in the system every chance I get to do a video. And when I can get back to doing as many as I've done, I'll be back and I'll bring more information, more deep conversation, and more other things. I just want to get on and share a thought that I had today that I spent a little time with. But if this thought come around and it plays into more and more like it does, we get deeper in detail. I thank you for liking, subscribing. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love of yourself. And thanks for sharing that with us here at In the Circle Ministry. Until next time, you guys have a great, great night, or a great, great day, wherever, whenever, however you're watching this. But thank you, and peace, love, and prosperity to all you guys.